If you have a 401k, there's a good chance you're making at least one of these 5 mistakes right now, and each one could be costing you tens of thousands of dollars. I'm Jerry Bulaclac with Radiant Vests. Today, I'm walking you through the 5 most common 401k mistakes I see, and more importantly, some frameworks for thinking about how to potentially address them. These aren't small issues. Each one of these mistakes could cost you significant money over time. We're going to cover not getting your full employer match, having the wrong investment allocation, paying too much in fees, being too conservative too early, and ignoring Roth contribution options. Let's get into it. The first mistake is one that many people don't realize they're making: not contributing enough to capture the full employer match. Here's how employer matches typically work. Your employer might offer something like a 50% match up to 6% of your salary. That means if you contribute 6% of your pay, they add another 3%. If you're making $100,000 and you contribute $6,000, they're giving you $3,000. If you're only contributing 3% of your salary, you're only getting half the match. You're leaving $1,500 on the table every single year. Over 20 years, that's $30,000 in contributions you didn't receive, and that's before any investment growth. One approach people often consider: finding out what your company's match formula is, then evaluating whether you might be able to contribute at least enough to capture the full match. Most plans allow you to change your contribution percentage at any time. I understand not everyone can afford to maximize contributions, especially if you're managing other financial priorities. But if you can find a way to at least get the full match, that might be worth considering. The second mistake is having an investment mix that may not align with your situation. This happens in a couple of common ways. First, you might have everything in a target date fund without understanding what's inside. Target date funds can be convenient. They automatically adjust your allocation as you get closer to retirement, but not all target date funds are the same. Some are quite conservative, some are more aggressive. Understanding what you actually own can be helpful. Second, you might have a collection of funds that don't actually work together as a coherent strategy. I've seen 401k accounts where someone owns 8 different funds, but several of them essentially hold the same stocks. That's not diversification, that's duplication. Let me give you a hypothetical example. Consider someone who's 50 years old with 15 years until retirement. They put everything in a target date 2040 fund without looking at what's inside. That fund might be 60% stocks and 40% bonds. That could be reasonable for some people, but if that same person also has a pension coming in retirement or substantial savings outside their 401k, they might not need to be that conservative in their 401k allocation. Conversely, if this is their only retirement savings and they're behind on their goals, being 40% in bonds might be more conservative than necessary given their time horizon. One approach to consider: reviewing what you actually own, looking at your 401k statements, and understanding your current allocation. Then thinking through whether that allocation seems to align with your time horizon, risk tolerance, and overall financial situation. As a general educational framework, not specific advice, many financial planners think about allocations in terms of time to retirement. But everyone's situation is different, and what might be appropriate depends on factors beyond just your age, including your risk tolerance, other income sources, and overall financial picture. If you found this helpful, do me a favor, hit like and subscribe below. The third mistake, and this is significant, is potentially paying more in fees than necessary without even realizing it. 401k fees come in several forms: administrative fees for plan operation, investment fees in the form of expense ratios, and potentially advisory fees if you're using a managed account service. The challenge is that many people don't know what they're paying in total. They see a statement that shows their balance going up and they assume everything is fine, but fees are quietly reducing their returns. Let me show you why this matters with a hypothetical example. Consider 2 people, both age 50, both with $500,000 in their 401k, both contributing $20,000 per year, both planning to retire at age 65. Person A has a 401k with total fees of 1.2% per year. Person B has a similar 401k but with total fees of 0.4% per year. Assuming the same 7% average annual return before fees over 15 years, the results could be quite different. Let me show you this visually in planning software. I'm going to set up these two scenarios side by side. Here's our starting point. So scenario 1, starting 2026, 500,000. 5 years later, 724,000. 10 years later, a little over a million. And 15 years later, 1.3 million. That's using the 1.2% expense ratio. Scenario B, 0.4% in fees. Look at the difference in totals, $1.5 million after 15 years. This demonstrates mathematically why understanding fees can matter over time. Even seemingly small percentage differences can compound significantly. This is not a recommendation to change your investments. This is showing why understanding your fee structure might be worth your attention. If you find you're paying higher fees, here are some things you might want to consider. Looking for lower cost index fund options in your plan, checking whether institutional share classes are available instead of retail share class funds, and evaluating whether managed account services are providing value worth the additional cost. The fourth mistake is potentially being more conservative than might be appropriate given your time horizon. This typically happens because of concern about market volatility or previous negative market experiences. If you've been impacted by a market downturn, your instinct might be to play it safe. But here's the challenge. If you're 50 years old and you put everything in stable value funds or money markets, you may not keep up with inflation over the next 15 to 20 years. Let me give you a hypothetical. Consider someone at age 50 with 400,000 in their 401k. They're nervous about market volatility, so they move everything to a stable value fund earning 3% per year. They continue contributing $15,000 annually. Over 15 years to age 65 with 3% returns, they might accumulate approximately $850,000. Now consider if the same person kept a balanced allocation and averaged 6% returns over those 15 years, they might accumulate approximately $1.1 million. That's a substantial difference, not because they've contributed more, but because of the investment approach over their time horizon. I'm not suggesting everyone should take aggressive investment risk. What might be appropriate depends on your time to retirement, your risk tolerance, your other assets and income sources, and your overall financial situation. Being more conservative than might be necessary purely from concern when you still have 15 to 20 years until retirement can create a different kind of risk. The risk that your savings may not grow enough to meet your retirement needs. One approach some people find helpful, working with a financial professional who can help you think through what level of investment risk might make sense for your specific situation. Not too aggressive, not too conservative, but aligned with your goals and timeline. If you're managing this yourself, some questions you might want to consider. How many years until I need this money? Do I have guaranteed income sources? How much volatility can I realistically handle? What's the bigger risk for my situation? Short-term market loss or long-term purchasing power loss? The fifth mistake, and this is one many people don't even realize they might be making, is not considering Roth 401k contribution options if your plan offers them. Many employer plans now offer Roth 401k contributions alongside traditional pre-tax contributions. The difference is significant. Traditional 401k, you get a tax deduction now, but you pay taxes on withdrawals in retirement. Roth 401k, no tax deduction now, but withdrawals in retirement are tax-free, including all the growth. Most people default to traditional because that's what they've always done. For some people, especially those in their peak earning years who expect to be in a similar or higher tax bracket in retirement, Roth contributions might be worth considering. Here's some situations where Roth 401k contributions might be worth exploring. First, if you're in a moderate tax bracket now but expect significant retirement income from pension, Social Security, and retirement accounts. Second, if you want to create tax diversification, having some money that's taxed now and some that's tax-free later can provide flexibility. Third, if you're concerned about future tax rates potentially being higher than current rates. And fourth, if you want to leave tax-free money to your heirs. Everyone's situation is different. There's no universal right answer. If your 401k plan offers Roth contributions, you might consider running an analysis to see if splitting your contributions between traditional and Roth could make sense for your situation. Some people do a combination. Some do all Roth. Some do all traditional. It depends on the individual circumstances. This is an area where working with a financial advisor or tax professional can be helpful because they can model out different scenarios based on your specific situation. Let's recap the 5 biggest 401k mistakes. 1, not getting the full employer match, potentially leaving money on the table. 2, having an investment allocation that may not align with your situation, either more conservative than necessary or not properly diversified. 3, potentially paying more in fees than necessary without realizing it. Fees compound over time. 4, being more conservative than might be appropriate given your time horizon when you still have substantial time. Some level of reasonable risk might be worth considering. 5, not considering Roth options, potentially missing an opportunity to create tax-free retirement income. Each of these mistakes could cost you significant money over time, but they're all worth evaluating. This video gives you a framework for thinking about these issues. Your specific situation is unique. What might be the right allocation for you, the right contribution strategy for you, the right Roth decision for you, all of that depends on your complete financial picture. I work with pre-retirees across the country, people in their 50s who are 10 to 15 years from retirement. If you want help evaluating your 401k situation and thinking through whether you're on track, there's a link in the description to schedule a consultation. We just covered 401k mistakes, but number 5, the Roth question deserves more discussion. In my next video, I'm doing a complete breakdown of Roth versus traditional 401k contributions, when each might make sense, how to think about the decision, and the tax implications worth understanding. If you're trying to figure out whether you might want to contribute to Roth or traditional, that video is going to give you a comprehensive framework. Watch it next. Just click the video on your screen. And if this video is helpful, click like and subscribe so you don't miss the rest of this series on retirement planning. This video provides educational information about retirement planning concepts. It is not personalized financial advice. For advice specific to your situation, please consult with a qualified professional. See you next time.